Okay, so today we're finding the equation of the tangent line and the normal line of f of x equals 3x squared minus x at the coordinate x equals 2. So this is like two problems in one, so we're going to focus on just one thing right now. We're simply going to focus on the tangent line. So to find the equation of the tangent line, I need two things. I need the slope and I need a coordinate. Well, the coordinate's kind of easy. We already have half of it. We know that x is equal to 2. So all I need is a y value. So to get a y value, that's easy. We're just going to plug in 2 into the equation. That'll get us the y value. So let's do that right away since we know we're going to need that. F of 2 is going to be equal to 3 times 2 squared minus 2. 2 squared is 4 times 3 is 12. 12 minus 2 is 10. So now we've got our y value. We're 2/3 of the way there. We have an x value, we have a y value. All we need is a slope. It's that last third. It's going to take us a little more time. So to find the slope, Newton and Leibniz said, we can find the slope at one point by looking at a limit. We're going to take 2 points, separate them by a distance of h, and we'll make h, that distance between them, go to 0. We can't actually have that distance be 0, because then we only have 1 point, and we know that our slope equation requires 2 points. However, if we take 2 points and bring them closer together and look at the limit as the distance they are apart goes to 0, that will enable us to find the slope at 1 point. And that equation was that difference quotient that you learned back in pre-calculus, f of x plus h minus f of x all over h. That's just slope. It's y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So now that I've got that limit set up, I know what my x-coordinate is. My x-coordinate is 2, so I can get 2 plugged into this equation right away. We're going to have f of 2 plus h minus f of 2 all over h. Now it's simply a matter of plugging in 2 plus h and 2 into our equation. Again, our equation, 3x squared minus x. This can be a little bit tricky. We tend to think that we've done a bunch of stuff that we haven't. We tend to lose things if we don't go slowly. So first, f of 2 plus h. We're going to plug 2 plus h in for each x value in 3x squared minus x. So that's going to be 3 times the quantity 2 plus h squared minus the quantity 2 plus h. Notice I use parentheses, otherwise you're going to go minus 2 plus h. Totally wrong, not good. Often I get students that will stop here and think, okay, my numerator is done. No, this is just f of x plus h, f of 2 plus h. We need to make sure that we subtract f of 2. What's f of 2? Well, we already did it. F of 2 we plugged in up top there. F of 2 is equal to 10. And so we're just going to subtract 10. And then we don't want to forget that we need h there. This is making sure that we write everything out cleanly. Many of you will just write the numerator only and just kind of do that by itself. You're going to hurt yourself. You're going to forget about the denominator. You're not going to write the word limit. That's going to hurt you as well. You're going to forget about doing those things. We don't want to forget anything, so we want to make sure that we write everything down every step along the way, including limit h approaches 0 until I plug in 0. Which I could try to right now. If I plug in 0 right now, you're going to get 0 divided by 0. This limit always works out to be 0 divided by 0. We need to mess around with that. We know that when we get a 0 over 0 from back in section 2.1, that we can mess around with the equation and get a limit. It's not going to be does not exist. It's not going to happen. So, how can we mess around with this? Well, we can multiply that whole thing out there. So 2 plus h times 2 plus h is one thing that we have to do, and then I have to distribute the 3. I'm going to do that all in one step because my algebra skills are strong. You need to make sure that you can handle that. If you can do it all in one step, that's great. If not, write it out in multiple steps. What that's going to give you, it's going to give you a 12 plus 12h plus 3h squared. 2 plus h times 2 plus h works out to be 4 plus 4h plus h squared, and then we need to distribute the 3. That's what you get. I'm going to distribute that minus sign to the parentheses, so that's going to become minus 2 minus h. And then finally, I'm not going to forget my minus 10 that I also have here at the end. And then I'm not going to forget that this is all over h. If I plug in 0 at this point, I'm still going to get 0 over 0, but there are things that can be combined together. So in my numerator, I've got 12 minus 2 minus 10. That adds up to 0. I've got 12h minus h. That's going to make 11h plus 3h squared. And all of that is over h. That's looking a lot cleaner and a lot nicer. If I plug in 0, I still get 0 over 0. However, I have an h in the numerator in both terms. I have an h in the denominator, which means an h can reduce. I'm going to do this in one step. You may need to do it in two. Just be careful. That h has to eliminate from everything. So when I do that, when I factor out an h and then cancel the h out, I'm left with 11 plus 3h. I'm no longer going to get 0 over 0 because I don't have a fraction anymore. When I plug in 0 now, I simply get 11. That is my slope. Specifically, the slope of the tangent line. It's not my final answer because it's not the only thing that I'm looking for. I'm looking for the equation of the tangent line. We got to make sure that we're paying attention to what we have listed up there in the directions, because often we'll stop here and think, hey, we're done. And if we're finding slope, sure, we're done. We found the slope, but we're not just finding slope. We are finding the equation of the tangent line. So we need to make sure we write that. We're also trying to find the equation of the normal line, so it's important when we write our answer that we label what we have. Don't just write two equations there and rely on me when it comes time for grading to determine which one's which. That's not fair. You have to communicate what you find. You have to communicate your ideas. So you need to make sure that you're telling me what's what. So we found the tangent line, so we want to communicate that we have found the tangent line. So our tangent line equation is really, really quick and easy. I'm going to write it in point-slope form because I like point-slope form. It's quick, it's fast. I have the point 2, 10. I have the slope. The slope is 11. I've got everything that I need, so now it's just plugging the numbers into the appropriate places. So our point-slope form, y minus our y value is 10, equals m. Our m is 11, times x minus our x value is 2. And there's the equation of your tangent line. You may be tempted to write that into slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b. You're welcome to. Many of you did that on the last test, but you made a mistake and then had to take points away. Also, that takes extra time. It doesn't take a lot of time, but it takes enough time away from you that you might not be able to finish, say, problem 20 on the test. You want to make sure you get to every problem and are able to finish every problem, so stop right there. Feel free to go into slope-intercept form if you want, but you're taking up more time and you're opening yourself up to making more mistakes. We also want to find the equation of the normal line. Normal line is fast. Normal line uses the exact same coordinate. We're still passing through the coordinate 210, and so our normal line equation is going to look very similar to our tangent line equation. It's still going to be y minus 10. It's going to equal some slope times x minus 2. The only difference is the slope. We have to rely on our knowledge of what normal means. In mathematics, normal means perpendicular. So if our tangent line slope, which we found down here, our tangent line slope is 11, our normal line slope will be the opposite reciprocal. Since our normal line is perpendicular to the tangent line, our slope for our normal line will be negative 1/11. Once we've got that, we can go ahead and take that negative 1/11 and plug it into our equation for the line, and so we end up with y minus 10 equals negative 1/11 x minus 2. I've got all my work so anybody can follow. I've got my lines labeled so we know which one is which. There's no confusion, there's no guesswork, there's no you figure it out, Mr. Krueger. You're telling me what you found. It's all listed right there. It's all good.